Okay, we are here on this Tuesday morning. Well, Tuesday here in Arizona and California, right, Kara?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
You know what? Super excited to have you here today. I love doing these lives and being able to share with people other people's stories. I find myself, I've learned so much over the years just listening to other people and being open and finding out, their career path and why they made changes at certain times. So I'm excited to have you and have you share a little bit about that. And it's been a blast. I can't believe we've been working together now for nearly 13 years.
It is so crazy. It is so crazy. I was reading this article this morning, and the gentleman was talking about how, wow, it's July, and like every month seems to go faster. Yeah, almost 13 years. So crazy. Lots of
I know.
life.
Well, we're aging backwards together, though. We got to remember that.
Yes, absolutely.
So, Kara, 13 almost years ago, and actually still today, you and your husband Larry had your own real estate brokerage. And you know what? Some things were going on in the world that made you sort of sit back and go, dang it, after 20 years, what's going on here? So let's just start off with, where were you when we met?
Where was I when the lights went out? I
That's what I was going to- That's a song, right?
yeah. Okay, so in 2009 is when we met. I had my husband and I had a small independent real estate firm, a property management business, a rental portfolio of our own, and our daughter wasn't even 7 years old yet. So we had a lot of life, right? I mean, not unlike anyone else that has a lot of life. So that's where we were at. And the Great Recession, which I always call the not so great recession, was in full swing. And of course, the bottom dropped out on September 18th of 2008. And so we were left going, oh my goodness, okay, we need to change some things. We need to not give up what we're doing, of course, because we have a lot of sweat equity in our business, right? If any of you know what that means, right? Blood, sweat, and tears in that business, literally. But we knew that we needed to diversify, and we knew that we needed something that wasn't real estate in our life. Now, don't get me wrong, real estate served us very well for a long time. And it's not for the faint of heart, and it's a lot of hard work, but you know what? It was our own, and we were happy to put the time and effort in. But looking at it and going, oh my gosh, okay, so all of our eggs in one basket, maybe we should have thought differently before. But you know what? You're just sort of like riding this wave. Like life
Yeah.
is good and you're busy and you're going. But then we were smacked with that tidal wave. And so we decided that we needed to diversify. And that's where you came into the picture. And yeah, I mean, we decided that we would have something very part time alongside of that
Right.
seemed to be recession resistant, which like totally 100% now I know that. Here I am almost 13 years later, right? I mean,
Right.
you've been doing this a lot longer than me. So you've seen some couple of recessions and like cycles, right? Yet we hold true. And so we decided to take a chance. And I have to tell you, it was hard. It
I
was
know.
hard to do something different. I mean, when you have this identity, right? That's what it's about. It's about, especially I think in men and women alike, you have this identity and you've built this brand, if you will, and you're known as something. To pivot, it's hard sometimes.
Yeah.
And but I think, if I look back then versus now, I think people are more accustomed to pivoting because a lot has happened since 2008. And I think if you can pivot the right way, it doesn't have to, like, I didn't give up my real estate practice then. However, if we fast forward a little bit, as times are changing and life is changing, and um, I will just say this: if at 13 years ago you asked me where I would be today, this is not what I would have imagined. But it's
No.
so much better than I could have ever imagined.
Yeah.
I don't know if that answers your question. I
No,
mean, I'm not
it
going into
does.
more detail. You tell me what else
Sure.
do you want me to share?
Sure. Well, you know what? And it's interesting that, I mean, here you are nearly 13 years. Here's me, 28 years. I mean, who does anything for 3 decades? Let's be honest.
Right?
right? And I still jump out of bed every single day because having a repeat income changes your life, not chasing the next sale. And, it's the same thing that happened with Mark and I. We were in real estate and retail back in 1994, started going through that recession in Canada, and the banks were taking the houses back. And we thought, oh my gosh, I mean, my car was parked 3 blocks away because the bank was looking for it. I never thought I was going to see myself in a situation like that.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So, here we are today. So maybe share with everybody, where are we at today? I mean, where are you? What's your thoughts on real estate? Let's talk about that because,
Yeah.
Friday night, I was telling you, Friday night we went out for dinner with some new friends. They're realtors. On Saturday night, we had some other friends come over, Alex and Carol. And Carol's a realtor. She actually sold us this house. And I'm hearing some very common, conversation going on with everybody I'm around that's in real estate. So, what's your
Yeah.
take on things that are going on right now? Why should realtors maybe be, you know, paying attention to a couple things?
Well, a couple things. First of all, we closed our real estate practice a couple years ago fully. And we did that because of a lot of reasons. And one of them was that real estate is a grind and it's very taxing and it requires a lot of time and a lot of energy. And we were okay with all of that until we found something that also requires time and energy, but
Mhm.
it provides that repeat income rather than honestly repeat headaches. If I'm being, like if you're in real estate and you're watching this, you totally get what I'm saying. I sort of have this love hate relationship with real estate, right? I mostly hate it. I'm kidding. It's it's served us well, right? I love my clients and all of that, but the um, the the changes that happen in the marketplace, look, real estate is the thing that dictates what changes in the economy. And riding those waves, I just, we found a better way. And I never thought there was a better way where I could be totally independent and do my own thing, yet help other people and have this repeat income. So it's very amazing. But what's happening right now in real estate, I still have my real estate broker's license, so I'm up on what's happening, and I interact with a lot of real estate people, of course, in my area in California, Southern California. But there's a housing market index, and it's called the HMI. The housing market index is an indicator based on new home builders. So they do these polls and they ask new home builders what they're seeing. And the reason new home building is important, I was never in new home building, doesn't matter. It indicates everything that's going on. So here's what they're saying, which is not going to be a surprise to anybody. They're seeing the cost of goods up about 20%, probably more in some cases, depending on what it is. They're seeing, of course, we're all seeing the interest rates. Like the feds are trying to counterbalance this inflation by raising interest rates. So what ends up happening is there's lower demand. When money costs more to borrow, the demand gets lower. And that's by design. But what's happening is that as a result of that, imagine you're a new home builder. Imagine you have this plot of land, and are you going to continue to build houses if you can't get materials and the materials you get are expensive and there's no buyers to buy the homes? No, because then you're just sitting on it. And that pretty much indicates everything. And inventory is going up. The reason in the last couple of years, the market, no matter where you were in the United States, the market was crazy because the inventory was low and the interest rates were low. Well, now the inventory is higher and the interest rates are higher. So it's really supply and demand. So the demand is less because the money's more expensive to borrow. And even though there's more homes, there's only more homes because people want to sell their homes, but they missed that window, right? So the other thing that I will note is that in the mortgage industry, which same industry, right? The mortgage industry right now, mortgage applications are at an all-time low. Like low, I'm not even saying in the
Wow.
last 6 months. I'm saying like over 22 years, an all-time low.
Okay, that's a huge indicator for me thinking about that.
Yeah, it is. I mean, people don't want to borrow money at the high. Now, if you really put things into perspective, back in the 80s and early 90s, holy cow, interest rates were in double digits, right? We're not there, but the price of homes is so much higher now. And
Right.
what's interesting too is the average person, their income doesn't match this inflation, right? So I just think for anyone, especially people in real estate, like I think real estate people are really smart, and I think they work really hard. And I can say that because I'm one of them, right? And I have a lot of friends in the industry.
Exactly. Yeah. Yep.
But I think that it's probably a really good time to pivot a little. You don't have to give up what you're doing. Look, I get that. Like I totally have sweat equity in my business, but having this plan B, it actually turned into a plan A. That wasn't the goal, but
No.
things change, right? We could all agree that change is inevitable. And how are you going to move through? Like for me,
Right.
I wanted that plan B. I wanted something out of real estate. And yeah, that's kind of my take on it.
So,
Like that's what's been happening.
right. So how does things look now that we're going into all this and what you've shared? How are you feeling this time as opposed to last time when all you had was real estate?
Well, I can tell you a couple things. That's a great question. So, first of all, when the pandemic hit, that was like one thing that changed a lot for people, right? People were like, "Oh my God, they can't work, they can't teach their kids and work and do all of this." Well, my business didn't skip a beat during the pandemic. And I have to be honest, I felt a little guilty about that at first for a minute. And then I was like, wait a minute. I don't need to feel guilty. Look, there's people out there that need what we have. I can get out there and help them. So not only did it not skip a beat, right? Working from home never skipped a beat, but we had our biggest growth year ever in
We did.
2020. A
Yeah.
lot of companies can't say that, right? So then here we are again. So like the Great Recession, we were great, right? This pandemic, great. And now I'm not worried. I'm not worried because what we have is reliable. What we have is recession resistant, or it's resistant to economic changes. I'm not going to say that like we're recession proof. I don't think that's real, but we are definitely resilient and more resistant to economic changes than probably anything I've ever seen. And I've been in business. I've been a business owner for 25 years. I've built several businesses, six-figure businesses. So I'm looking at this realistically and going, okay, so if right now you're thinking we're in for the downturn and maybe you've planned for it financially, good for you if you did, fantastic. But even if you did, wouldn't it be prudent to have something alongside of it? Didn't interfere with my real estate business. I had my real estate business. In 2009, so I started my real estate business in 1998. So 2009 created the Plan B. It wasn't until 2000, what year is it, 22? It wasn't until 2019 that we closed our real estate business. And it's funny because people in real estate ask me, they either say one of two things when they hear that I closed my real estate business. They either say, congratulations, or they say, why? And it's interesting, right? It's mostly people on the periphery of real estate that ask why. It's mostly the people in real estate that are like, congratulations.
Right.
And it's just everyone's different, but what we do now, it's very fulfilling and it's a repeat, and we get to help people. It ticks off all the boxes that real estate did, but it ticks off a huge box that I never knew even existed, and that's the repeat income part of
Right.
it. Yeah.
Well, something I really appreciate about you, Kara, is you didn't join us blindly either. So here's what I find. I find that most people, when they're looking for a side hustle, they make decisions based on emotion rather than business sense. You know what I'm saying? Here's what I mean by that. Because there's
Their
a lot of
heart instead of their head. Yes.
right.
Yeah.
There's so many things out there that people can do to make some additional income, but it's usually not repeat, and it's usually based on emotion. Like some friend introduces them to something and they think, oh, that's a really good idea, that's really fun, I could benefit from that, I'm going to go tell all my friends. But it doesn't mean it's a good business model. I mean, whatever the product or services they're selling might be really wonderful,
Yeah.
but it takes a lot more. So if I was going to go buy a donut shop in San Diego, right by where you live, I'd be wanting to see their books. So, you know what? I mean, I think that's the other thing I want people to hear from us this morning is that if you're looking at a side hustle, make sure you see the books, of the person that's sharing with you, not some Billy Joe from Texas, someone that can show you the data and the facts so that you can make an educated decision on whether or not what they do is a great fit for you. So
Yeah.
let's talk about
Absolutely.
that because I know you've had some great business partners join you in this last little while and more on their way. So, why are you excited about the future of e-commerce and what we have to offer? What do you see going down the road here?
Oh my goodness. Not only what I see coming down the road, but just in the last, which, okay, maybe 12 and a half years sounds like a long time, but in the span of things, when you think about technology, it's really a blip on the radar, right? So, what I see, what I've been seeing, and what I see is this forward trend, right? What I see is that, back in 2009, e commerce wasn't that big of a deal, right? Probably half the people were not shopping online for anything, right? They would
Sure,
be like,
yeah. Hey, I remember. I,
I don't
I
want
know.
to put my credit card on the internet, you know?
I know. I know. It's like I was terrified. I remember I was like, I'm not putting my credit card on the internet. That's
Yeah,
ridiculous. That's
yeah,
it's just like I thought texting was ridiculous too, and now all we do is text.
right? So, yeah, so I mean, to see the progression and to be with an organization that is on the cutting edge of that, not just technology, but what people need and what people want. And moving into, even though we are moving into this recession period, it's a really good opportunity, right? So I think it was Winston Churchill that said, the pessimist, I'm gonna botch this, but I'm gonna paraphrase. It's something like the pessimist sees opportunity as a challenge, and the optimist takes that challenge and turns it into opportunity. It's something like that. So
Yeah,
the question is, where are you at and what are the opportunities in front of you?
right.
Because in order to really be successful in business, you have to be, in my opinion, open minded, right? And so I wasn't the most open minded person. And here's why. I was in this weird place in a funk where I didn't want my life to change. It had nothing to do with you or nothing to do with anything other
Right.
than me and where I was at and reeling in my circumstances and saying, but this isn't what I want. And this isn't what I planned for. And I really want to be here. And I had to kind of put that aside and say, you know what, this makes sense. And so, again, that emotion, the heart and the head, right? So, you have to have your heart in it once you're in it. But I think the decision comes from your head. If you're making a business decision, it should
Right.
come from the head. And the information and the logistics and the logic in it, all of that comes into play. And that was me. When I looked at it, it made sense. I didn't think there was a risk. I knew that I could work hard. It made sense. E-commerce, I mean, come on, 2009, I'm like, okay, well, all right, e-commerce has to be like going somewhere. Who
Mhm.
knew that like almost every household that you talk to, shops online for something, right? Um, and so I just see this trajectory, like we're just in the right place at the right time now. I mean, it's not by happenstance, of course.
Right.
Um, and I feel like if people want to be a part of something that is bigger than them, that has the ability to help so many people achieve their goals and go from, point A to point B, whatever the point A and point B are to you, right? It's different for
Right.
everyone, that this is such a great vehicle. And to partner with someone like Myrna, who has a wealth of knowledge and experience and such a caring heart. Like one of the things that, I'm sorry, I don't want to get you emotional, but I will say this, Myrna is so loyal. And she, man, this woman has your back. I am telling you what, like, it is amazing, amazing to be able to partner with someone who is so caring and so authentic and so just loyal. I just adore you to
Thank-
pieces. And I'm so grateful.
Well, and that goes two ways because thank you for trusting me. I knew that took a lot. Jersey girl living in Southern California. You were tough. Okay. You kind of scare me a little bit. No, in a good way.
I know I scare everybody. Sorry.
It's all good. It's all
I
good.
don't try to scare people, but yeah.
Well, your story is powerful, Kara. And I know that there's people listening in that can relate to everything you're sharing. And you know what? I guess let's just wrap up and say to everyone, don't be afraid. Just be open, just listen, do your homework. We have the answer. And it's good news over here. And it feels good to jump out of bed in the morning and want to get to work and help other people without a doubt. So Thank
Absolutely.
you, Kara. We're here. I hope you'll come back next month. I'm here every Tuesday, the first Tuesday of the month at 11 o'clock Pacific, and we've always got some great folks to share. And again, appreciate you, Kara. Love you to the moon and back. I guess I'm going to see you soon as well in a couple
Yes, I
weeks.
can't wait. I
Yeah,
know. I
we're going to have
know. I
some fun
can't
together.
wait.
I can't wait to come to California.
Yes. Thank
All
you.
right.
Mwah.
Have a great day, everyone.